Hi everybody, it's Mallory Smythe with Endow. So recently I was on a walk with a friend and we were talking about women and friendship. And she was telling me that many of the women that are her age are not in the same state of life as she is, and so she felt like they didn't want to reach out to her or they didn't want to spend time with her because they felt like either they didn't have anything in common anymore or that she couldn't relate to them anymore. Now, I am in a different state of life than she is, and I was telling her that I feel the same way. That I feel like because of my state of life, people think I'm either too busy or they don't think of me at all. And so we were kind of discovering in this conversation that we were both telling ourselves stories that were bringing us into loneliness and keeping us from establishing true friendships with other women. Now, I've been thinking about this conversation a lot, and so my coworkers and I were talking about the difficulties that come with female friendships. And so we decided to put a question out on Instagram, and we decided to ask all of the women that follow us what they found difficult about female friendships. And the response was overwhelming. We had so many women respond to us telling us how they've been wounded by other women, or the things that they have found difficult in finding true friendship with other women. Now, I believe that we've all been wounded by each other, that we've all been hurt by other women, because where the Lord has called us to build each other up, oftentimes we compare ourselves. But I really think we can do better, and so I wanted to read a little bit from John Paul II from Letter to Women, and then talk about a way that I believe that we can actually become better at being true friends with other women. So this is what John Paul II said in Letter to Women. He said, "Man becomes the image of God not so much in a moment of solitude, but in a moment of communion." We become the image of God in a moment of communion, which means we need each other to become holy. And see, it's no wonder that the enemy wants to stop that. It's no wonder that the enemy wants to keep us in isolation, to keep us in loneliness, and to keep us in the loop of our own stories, right? Because the minute we break out of that and we walk in true friendships with members of the same sex, we start to build God's kingdom on this earth even more, right? And yet so many of us are feeling so lonely, and we're feeling very isolated, and we're telling ourselves things that are helping to keep us there. I know I've done this in my own life, especially when it comes to friendship, where I've told myself a million stories of why a woman would not want to spend time with me. And so instead of taking the chance and making the move, I never do anything. And then I just tell myself that I don't have many friends. And it sounds so silly to say it out loud, but I think all of us do it. And so I want to start up Mornings with Endow again by giving all of us a challenge. Is there a woman in your life that you want to get to know? Is there a woman in your life that you'd like to spend time with, that you think is really cool, but maybe you've never reached out to her because you've told yourself a million reasons why she would not want to hang out with you? I challenge you, and I challenge myself, to be the person to make the move. To text her or call her, invite her to something, invite her to coffee, to get to know her in true friendship. And if she says no, ask her again. Don't tell yourself a story that you don't know is true. And see if we can start as women to break down those walls that we've put up between ourselves that keep us from growing in community with one another. Because I believe that our culture needs to see women who know how to build each other up and can live in true friendships, even if sometimes it's difficult. Thanks, and have a great week.